for me, working with Holly has been this divine thing where we talked about sacred business being part of the process. And if it doesn't feel good, we don't do it. Like, yes, there's things that you have to do as part of business, but then you work on that being not such a negative thing, not a procrastination. You work through your limiting beliefs around it. And, so just direct application of energy psychology and the spiritual belief system that we both subscribe to in business was a lot of fun. And I've played around with it before in different business settings, but not ever to the extent that Holly and I got to play around with it. And that just made it lots and lots of fun. I think that it's been a beneficial thing for we had a small team of people working for us, and they were just a delightful bunch of women that I never would have met if it wasn't for Holly launching this. We, and in our weekly team meetings, we would hold each other up when there's an injury or something happening in someone's life. We would, send love and attention and healing to them. And, again, just the infusion of what Holly does into the people. And they were all in alignment and loved everything that Holly did too, and enjoyed supporting her. So that was pretty great. And Sarah and Sahara both could not make it tonight because of previous engagements, but they really wished that they could have been here for the final one. Yeah, it's been really sweet to get to know all of you and all the others that floated through in the time that Radiant Hearts has been up and running. And for anybody that still had an active membership today, I went in and just hit pause on them. One of them was supposed to renew today even. So I was really glad I hopped in there, and I hope we caught up before that renewal. I don't remember who it was, but anyway, yeah, it's been really a fantastic journey. And I appreciate each of you for your participation in that. We haven't talked about the Facebook group yet, Holly, so I don't know, I would think we could leave the Facebook group active for a couple of months. And if somebody wants to get in there and post something to other people, they certainly could. Before we reinvent or come out with something new, a part of that process would be to remove everybody from the Facebook group, to reinvite you in if you don't, especially if you didn't sign up for the next version of this. So but I would imagine an email would go out to you before that happens, and it wouldn't happen. I mean, we're going to all be really on hiatus, and it's going to be a good birthing time for all of us, gestation time for all of us. So it's coming at a perfect time for literally everyone on the team. So, yeah.
Yeah. So to tag on to that, I wanted to also thank Angela for the energy that you've brought, and the spirit. Like she really was the one who was bringing the one of the things I most appreciated was we would start our meetings off with invoking divine assistance for the work that we were going to do today, together today. And so there's a way that she lives that I hadn't been living into, and her living that way helped me to open up and live more into that. And so I really grew from that, and was, I love that. Yeah, being able to incorporate more, and live more from these places that we really believe in, especially as the world just gets weirder and weirder all the time. So I'm really grateful for everything that you have been bringing to this, and will bring to it in the future, right? But
yep.
Yeah.
I was going to say too, I had this funny thought on the drive into my office this afternoon, that you guys are pretty powerful manifestors. So if you want a weekly thing to reemerge, all you have to do is think on those thoughts, and that might contribute to the creative process on our end, into that gestational period. if you want something monthly, if you want something different, like start your own personal intention process. And it would be so fascinating in 4 months to what was your intention process and how much did what Holly decides to come back with match that.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a little
Yeah, it's
experiment.
I think, yeah, and we may not be very clear on this, but I'm thinking that we are going to have the $17 option up.
In the
We're not
meantime.
going to put any energy into advertising it, like, but we'll have it. So anybody who's been a part, or anybody's on the newsletter and finds out about it, can do that. Not exactly sure when we're going to get that done. As you know, we've had, accidents, injuries, some surgeries, and, just things happening in people's lives. So, but that's the intention, so that you then, and so that there will be, I don't know, I think we have like 6 right now, like, videos that would be like training videos for people, like, basic, the basic process one, and then one on the limiting beliefs, and one on the possibility pages, and one on going through the chakras, and one on, what's the other one, that, remember when I've done the bodies, like scanning your physical body, emotional body, mental body. And then we would have, maybe 2 that would revolve a week, or where we're not exactly sure about that piece of it, but we would have new ones that I've already done, but they would be revolving.
Yeah, I was referring about their intention to
Static
live gatherings or virtual gatherings, not just
Yeah.
recorded things.
Right,
So
right.
that's what I was,
Yeah.
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 You're
just
right.
wanna-
There will be the online version of pre-recorded material that we'll have, that I expect actually we should be able to have that ready really, really soon. So
Yeah, but we had said that, so I just wanted to make sure that clarified that in fact would be available still.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we'll see what we come back with, in the fall.
So I'm sorry, what, I must have missed this part. The $17 thing, doesn't me.
What we,
I don't know what that is.
right, so.
I don't know what that means.
So, once I announced, which was just a couple of weeks ago, right, that, I was gonna be taking a break. What we said right away was that it wouldn't drop everything, that we would switch to this pre-recorded membership thing that you could sign up for, and every month you would have access then to those, anybody would have access to this, to the static recorded ones, and then the revolving ones, so that you could, if you wanted to, you knew that you could go and find, one of these tapping sessions that you could use. And you could, people could develop. I don't know how many would be revolving, actually. We have to think about that. But in any case, that's what that is. So anybody who wants to still have access to what we have, that's how you would have access to it. I guess that makes me wonder, right now, everything is on Vimeo. Some people have, like in the past, before we were doing Vimeo, some people had, sessions that I would send them. So some people actually have sessions, right? I mean, I know some of you do. I don't know if all of you do, but so some of you already have recorded sessions. But anyway, so that's what the $17 is.
So is it for the whole library of sessions?
No, it's just for the sort of the basic, or the basic ones, the more training ones, and then revolving through the library.
Okay.
And we have, Sahara has been starting to go through the library and kind of title each one, because, there are different kinds of things that were emphasized. One of the
Mhm.
things I wish now I would have done differently is to record before when I was talking, even though not everybody appreciated me talking. That wasn't their favorite part of tonight, but I wish I had it. And then, and then it would character, it would give more character to each one of the recordings, but
Mhm.
that's not how we ever did it. So, or mostly
Mhm.
didn't do it, I guess. So,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I have a couple questions about that, but I can ask that at another point. You must have switched it. Back like the Vimeo to look at those from it. And I know when I had mentioned it, that those ones that I was a part of already were still available, but it does not look like to that anymore. I don't know.
we'll talk about that later. I'm not quite, your sound is not really good.
That's right. I can
So,
talk about that. Yeah,
okay. Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
So just to clarify, are you saying it would be $17 a month in order to have access to these videos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And are you changing them from the Vimeo to something else?
No,
No.
not that,
Okay.
no plans, no plans
Okay.
to do that. Vimeo seems a pretty good place to host them, so.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's too hard to host them on Wix, as it turns out, so that's why we had to put them on Vimeo. Wix won't hold that many, actually, so. Okay, any other questions about kind of how we move forward, what happens? One thing as you're thinking about questions, maybe, Kathy said, as you know, well, maybe you don't know Kathleen, she's not going to be here tonight because she's going to the rally down in the amphitheater in Cuyahoga Falls and with her daughter. So she wasn't going to be able to make it. But she said that, and she was going to put this on Facebook. I don't think she has yet. I'm not sure. I have no idea actually, because I haven't looked, but that she said, I'm going to put something on there about anybody locally would like to get together for lunch or coffee or anything. And I wrote back to her and I said, I think that's just a fantastic idea. Like, let's meet for breakfast, let's meet for coffee, let's meet for lunch somewhere, and just do that. It's like, just, I don't know, periodically do that and just check in. So, why not? So anyway, she's going to initiate that, and so that's another reason to keep the site up, is to keep those connections, keep the group connections. And we might just want to do that. There's no reason why we have to take the group down in a couple of months or a couple of weeks at all. So we wouldn't, whoever's doing the $17 would not become a part of this group though. So, like when people decide to do the $17, that membership, that would not involve this at all. So this stays what it's been for right now. So, okay. All right. So anyway, any comments? Well, first of all, I asked about questions. Any other questions about ending and moving forward, or taking a break and moving forward? Anybody have any thoughts about, I'm assuming that many of you, which would mean two, I guess, many, how's many when there's, but that you've kind of used this to, like, at least I'm doing this once a week, right? Like, once a week, I'm giving myself the time to sit and do this and to work on this, and I've heard that from people, because it's kind of hard to do it on your own, to make your own time for it. And then some people really appreciated the group aspect of it, right? And the energetics of it. But I'm wondering, I guess along, so your questions might include things like that, like, how am I going to go forward? What am I going to, I don't know if you've thought about that. How are you going to work on your own? What kind of process do you want to put in place? So those are really, really good questions, even if not to talk about, to think about now. So zip it here for a moment and see if anybody has any questions.
It's not really a question, and uh, but I do, in addition to the things you said, which are pretty much, as you know, the way I've thought about it, and I'm also I found it a little bit more difficult to pull away from this beautiful weather in the summer. So I think summer's a great time to take a break.
Mhm.
But what I brought in to say is, I have an appreciation for how incredibly much work you and your team, Angela, et cetera, must have put into this, having been part of starting businesses and doing websites a little bit, and just appreciate that it's it's a lot of work, and it can be hard to let go of something that you've created, or change it, stand back, whatever you want to, however you want to say it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to, actually, I think the hard thing is to have put all this energy into it and have it not grown, like that's I think I see it for, it is what it is, and everything's in divine timing and divine order. And yet, when we started out, we talked about, having a group where, at some point, maybe there were like, it would be different dynamic, but maybe there were like 50 people, because people could come from anywhere, and then people came from nowhere, kind of. And so that, it's like, that's good. There's growth in that, like, to finally sit and say, all right, it's time, it's just time to shift. I tried to get a sense myself. I try, and I would ask people, and people just do not want to give feedback. Just do not want feedback. So I was really high. I mean, well, I saw the look on Carolyn's face. Carolyn gives feedback, so that's like, but she does. She's good about giving feedback. And Jennifer, I'm not to single people out, but I want to make sure it's just not a blanket statement. But the feedback I wanted from the group, I didn't get enough of to, really have a sense of how do I shift? What do I do? So, it's letting go of, and I don't know, it's letting go. As Jennifer knows more than anybody else, I first started doing these versions of these, and we did it on telephone. We did conference calls starting in 2004 or I think about 2003 or 4 or something like that. So yeah. So I did it that way. And then I did it, we did it that way for a while. I did 60 of those. So we did it, that was like over a year. I did it that way. And then I did it in the community for about 3 or 4 years or more, maybe even more, in different places in the community. And then, and then started with COVID in April of 20, started doing it this way. So it's been something I've been offering for a long time. And
That's interesting. I didn't realize that, because like my feedback was going to be that I'll bet there's a lot of people that don't know about it, that aren't aware of it. So, because I know a lot of people would benefit from it, obviously. I know people myself that, maybe they're not entirely open to it right now, but hopefully, you know, at some point they will be. But yeah, I think that I didn't realize that you were out and about in the community and doing all that. Wish I would have known that back then.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me too. I think part of it is that, you know, it really is a model that's based on doing deeper work, right? And being willing to go there yourself and do that work yourself. And, you know,
Right.
so many people are not, they're not ready yet to do the work, right?
Right.
So there's that. And I think, you know, one of the things I think I did talk about with, at least some of you were there. Christine, you probably weren't there because this was in the last month too. Was that coming back, one of the thoughts has been to come back with more of a training kind of model, you know, or that each, you know, if I do this just once a month, which is much more likely, that each one will be more of a specific training and a specific focus, which I've kind of resisted. But I think that that does pull people in. It's like, oh, well, I would like to know more about this or what she's saying about this, or, you know.
Yeah.
So I, you know, I think I tried to create a model. I mean, and this is perhaps part of the lesson too. I tried to create a model that would work for everybody, but nothing. I mean, you know, I mean, obviously people aren't open to energy psychology. This isn't going to work for them, but a model where no matter what your issue is, you can come into the group and work on it, and you're not, you know, and you're able to work on it.
Right.
And I, you know, I think I did a good job with, I mean, as
You
far
did
as
a
I
great
can
job.
tell.
You
Thank
did a great job with that.
Yeah.
And yet but that doesn't give people a lot of direction. So I think that's the other thing, is that people want more direction.
I think, I mean, I don't know that it's really fair to completely discount the fact that things have been really disrupted for many people. I mean, COVID definitely had a big impact on people. And I don't know that people were really in the process of seeking out new things. I think people were like, wow, you know, and the fact that they could do it virtually would have been good. But I think if the mindset is that you're not really seeking out new things and you're trying to sort of consolidate and figure things out, that timing was not super helpful, you know.
Well, you know, that's a really good point, and it helps explain why in the beginning there were a lot more people involved.
Right.
Because it's like everybody's scrambling, you know, everybody's traumatized, they're freaking out, you know, we're like, oh my God. And so, you know, there were, I mean, there have been over 50 people who've been involved in this since I started this iteration of it, but they kind of dropped away. And I wonder how much of that dropping away was, all right, I've dug my heels in, I've got to get through this now. And I, you know, I don't have much energy for much of anything else. So yeah, appreciate that.
Well, and hopefully that tide will turn too, you know, hopefully, you know, the world will start healing and slowly. But you know, that tide will also turn. So it's just a, you know, a moment in time.
It is, you're right. It is a moment in time. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I also included in the email, Holly, and I don't know if you saw it, but that it's the new moon today. That's right. It's the new moon today too. So I feel like this is like perfect divine energy, right? For this kind of an ending and beginning / thing, not to mention we're still on the heels of the solstice. So just keeping that in mind. So.
Right. So then, excuse me, the new moon energy, right? One of the ways I like to think about that new moon energy. No, never mind. That's the full moon energy. I had that backwards. But anyway, so one of the things I like about the new moon energy is really that, it's like, you've gone into the release, like the letting go and the letting go and the letting go. And now it's, it's the new beginning. So, I mean, that's interesting. Like, and the title of the post or the article or blog or whatever about the end of an era and a beginning, like that's kind of cool that, sometimes things are really synchronistic, lined up and you're not even aware. It's like, oh, look at that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for saying that.
Yeah, I hadn't
So,
recognized it until today.
mm,
So the other language that came to me as I was writing that, Holly, just so you are in the know, is that tonight is this whole session that we're in is like we're standing on the threshold. We haven't actually closed the door behind us, nor have we opened the door before us. And so I just felt like tonight was a threshold night, but we can, as we close, we'll just have the intention of having a vision for something new to emerge in the future.
well, even now, like each of you, like I just, on the basis of what you said, Jennifer, what we were talking about, that each of you has made time for this every week, right? You've taken an hour and a half, probably plus, you have to get ready, you have blah, 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 and so when you could, but, and so there's going to be more time and more space. And not only, the question of how do you carry forward your own self-healing plan, right? Or activities, routines. But what does this make space for you? What are you ready? What newness are you ready to bring into your life? Even if it's for the summer, right? Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So things to think about as we move towards that part of the evening together.
Mhm.
And I also thought about what I wanted to say, and this is general. I mean, this is really, and the reason, so I want to say something to the whole group, and I'm saying it generally rather than specifically to each individual person. I like at the end of a group or a retreat or whatever to be able to say something to each person about what they brought into the group, what they contributed. And I realized it's like, well, it's been so much just me, it's been so much like me sending and people being present and receiving and doing whatever, that there's not been a lot of, a whole lot of contribution, right? I mean, there's not been a whole lot of, people haven't taken different roles, kind of in the group because there hasn't been the possibility for that. And so in general, I really want to thank everybody for your, the openness of your hearts and your willingness, your desire to be here. The fact that it was important, however it may have been important to you to be here. I have a lot of gratitude for that. And I want you to know that every night, like there was never a night when I was like, oh, I really don't want to be here, but I have to do it. And I'm a professional, so I'll do it. Like not once. I mean, there were a lot of times when it's like, I didn't really think about it until it started, but I always loved being here. I always, I just, it felt like something that I was contributing that, it was, I don't know, very congruent. I don't know. I really valued it. I really valued my time with you. And as I started to say towards the last couple of months, like, wow, it's really bothering me that I don't have more of a connection, with the group. And so then begin inviting the group to not video out, so that I can see people. And by last week, I don't think anybody videoed out last week. I think that was probably the first time that nobody videoed out. So we got there. And so that's a learning for me along the way. But so even, I just want you to know, like, it's been my joy and my delight to be here and be with you and be doing something that was focused on our hearts, right? And the radiance of our hearts, and be involved in each of us learning more about what it means to radiate love from our hearts. I like to think that that's something that maybe everybody, walks away from this with. I don't know, but I'd like to think that. So I wonder, that's kind of a lead-in segue into what kinds of things do you feel like you have gained through participating in this Radiance Heart Circle?
Well, I have enjoyed the camaraderie of the people in it. That's been a good bit of it. And I think it was interesting. I mean, this was more, I was a part of the earlier sessions that you did in 2004, 2005, or however long ago that was. And this was different, which I thought was interesting. These were in some ways more general. The sessions were a little bit more general. And I think it taught me more how to take from it what I needed and what to not take that I didn't need. Like sometimes it was more focused on what was more directly targeted towards me, and other times it didn't seem like it was. And I think it gave me good practice in doing that. And I think that was good. I tend to embrace things pretty fully and not embrace them when it has things that don't really fit as well for me, I think. And so I think that was good. And I appreciated, I mean, I saw a different side of you, Holly, on these things. And I was pleased about that. I was pleased that you were as open and as participatory as I felt you being. So that was a gift too. So, I think I was pleased when I read your email about you had done it and you felt like it had done its work, and now you were moving on to something different. You weren't quite sure what, but you were. And I thought that was great too. So I think it's ending in a good way, and things don't necessarily always do that. A lot of times people just sort of piddle out, their energy, and it's like, ugh, like what you said a minute ago, it never felt like you were like, oh my gosh, I have to go and do this stupid group. That never felt that way. And that's really nice, because a lot of times people don't say, gosh, I think this is done. They overstay the group, until they really do begin to lose interest and focus and, like, ugh, I have to go do the group. What a drag. But I said I would do it, so I'm going to go do it. So it was nice not to have any of that in it. And I think it's been good. I mean, I could see different people getting different things out of it. I felt myself getting different things out of it. And I don't think all those things were always matched for anybody. But I think because of the online structure, that was possible. So it created a lot of flexibility too. So,
Good.
so thumbs up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to say anything? Kathleen, you're very quiet tonight, but you can continue to be very quiet. That's fine. I just thought, I don't mean to call you out. And just like,
I have to say, I am kind of tired. I spent
Okay.
the whole day with 3 kids, so.
Oh, that's right.
So I got low, I do have low energy. Um, um, I do have some thoughts. I guess there's 2 things. One is it's been a challenge for me. I don't feel like I know very many of the people in the group. And because the group changes every week and who's in it, um, I either sort of have felt like an outsider, or like these people have been together and I haven't been integrated into the group somehow. Um, and actually, Kathy is the one person that I felt like I knew best because we talked more when we were in the group. And I know Carolyn and I've been in group more frequently. But so that's been difficult for me.
Mhm.
And I've when I had my practice, I led lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of groups. And um, and this has been a different kind of group than what I'm used to leading. So so that was a challenge.
Mm.
Um, and then on the other hand, there's um, I loved when we did the tapping, and um, there was this beautiful group energy and this beautiful spiritual energy that was developed, and it felt very uplifting and light filled, and so that I really loved that part of it.
Mm.
So
Good. Thank you.
mhm,
I know that, yeah, the piece about not structuring it so that there was a lot of connection that really formed between people was one of the, it wasn't structured to generate that. And,
mhm,
you know, um, I don't know what to say about that. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it. And I'm aware that, and I think that that was something that not everybody wanted and some people wanted more of. Right.
mhm,
And
mhm,
I think the more you create that, the more that, people stay, because they're getting fed on more different levels.
mhm.
So, but yeah, so that's feedback that I will certainly, I'm aware of, and I will hold with, and kind of carry into whatever the next iterations are. So thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I can kind of relate to what she's saying, but for me, I still felt like a warmth and just a welcoming, even though I don't know anyone at all. And I've probably only been to, I don't know, maybe 6 months of this. So, but I still felt, like I said, like that warmth and the positive energy of everyone, and also the spiritual energy was very, very strong for me as well. And just, I got a lot out of it, and it kind of made me focus on things that I maybe didn't even realize I needed to focus on. You know, like I know several times where where you just said, if you don't know what you want to focus on, it will come to you, and it did. So that was pretty cool for me. So I'm very appreciative for the time that you spent and the energy that you put forth, and everybody's energy and welcoming energy.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad to hear all that too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And, and I think the fact that, you're saying the feeling welcoming, right? Like, even though maybe, even though, like, to Kathleen's point, not, you didn't really get to know each other well, that there was still a sense of welcoming, still a sense of openness, kind of.
Yes. Yes,
I
definitely.
think the openness was interesting because mostly people didn't talk about what they were working on, right?
Mhm.
So, that wasn't open in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it was open in terms of everybody was being vulnerable themselves, right? So they
Right.
were, each of you were being vulnerable to being open to what's going on within you, right? So you brought an openness of heart, an openness of spirit, and that
Yeah.
openness of spirit formed some of the energy, a lot of the energy, the field of the group.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yes.
So I think the welcoming, has a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be something that, most people don't think about, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
The fact that I
Right.
let myself be more open and more vulnerable, or like you said, maybe, find that there were things to work on that I didn't realize, and let myself do that. Like, that contributed to the energy of the group. That
Mhm.
contributed to the healing energy of the
Mhm.
group.
Definitely.
Because the healing, group energy is not something that, we talk about a lot in this culture. Group
Right.
healing energy is really not something we talk a lot about in this culture, right? That we
Right.
we haven't done a lot of processing of, what are the energies? What are the influences? What, how does it kind of happen? So,
Mhm.
yeah, good. Okay. All right. All right. Well, it's 7:26. I'm not surprised it's 7:26. And I think if I ask this question, I might get a round of different answers. I didn't think about this earlier last week or earlier today to bring it up. Were people hoping to tap on something on the last day? Were you? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. Okay. Let's do that. Go through and do, I don't know, a round or two, and then move into, like we've already been doing, by asking people for feedback, we've already been engaging in the closing and the moving into the new beginning. So this is part of the last hurrah and the closing, right? The last hurrah. That's a really funny phrase for tapping on something that's challenging. I love it. I love putting those together. They can be incongruent. I think that's cool. Okay. Okay. All right. All righty. Okay. So if everybody takes a moment, let's drop in, close your eyes. Take a couple of those deep waterfall breaths. Feel yourself drop in, like just notice how much more quickly you're able to go inside. I know I'm always saying this, but the recognition and the awareness of what we can do is really important to actually doing it. See what you notice. You could scan all the bodies, physical body, emotional body, mental body, excuse me, spiritual body, relational body, quickly, very quickly. I'm noticing, for example, that my heart is beating faster. And it's like, oh, I may have some more feeling going on about this being the ending of this than I was aware of, right? That's what my heart's telling me right now. So begin to bring your awareness to that discomfort, that imbalance, that unease that is most disturbing your peace right now, your capacity and willingness to be in a place of that you want to be in. I was going to say a place of openness and love and transparency and vitality. Might not be where everybody wants to be. So what is it for you that you most want to release, most want to shift? And let's ask our subconsciousnesses to really do the work in double or triple time, right? Our subconscious, our superconscious knows how to do this. And just as we can say tap now in a moment when we don't have the opportunity to tap, we can determine now that we are going to shift, reverse, release now, quickly. And then let's also take a moment to acknowledge the presence of all the spiritual and divine beings who are here, who have always been here in the group with us, those who are always with each of you and therefore always come present here in the group, and those who come in as needed, as appropriate. There are beings that come when we are working on different kinds of issues, and we don't even notice their presence most of the time. And yet they're here contributing their own unique gifts. And we open ourselves, trusting their presence and their purity and their love and their light, so that we let them help, we let them bring in the light, this pure light and love and new possibility. Acknowledge elements. I don't know that I ever did this in the group, but I know I've told you that in the mornings I do a ceremony to the 4 directions and the qualities of the 4 directions, asking all of the elements and the directions to walk with me through my day. And so all the elements are here. The energies at whatever level, dimensional level they exist, that help hold form and structure together are here. So many levels of which we're not aware, but we can open and give gratitude for their presence here with us. And for the fact that they've been here all along. So my gratitude to all the spiritual beings who have been a part of this experience, this offering of love to the world, this healing opportunity. And then now really honing in again on what it is you want to focus on, what it is you want to clear. Feeling it in your body. Noticing what the emotions are, any thoughts, memories, colors, shapes, images. So let's start at the sore spot. So even though I have this, whatever, this upset, even though I have this issue that I want to keep working on, this is important to me. You know, maybe some of you, well, we all are. I think it's safe to say working on patterns, on issues that are not completely resolved, right? And that they're part of our life pattern, part of our life journey, our life's walk. And that we don't want the healing to stop here, right? We really want to continue and grow. So feel that, feel the words, but remember that not to get tripped up on the words. If they come, it's good. If they don't need to be there. So coming up to the top of your head. All right. Feeling these feelings. Eyebrows. These sensations in my body. On the side, this maybe tightness in my breathing. Like I'm feeling a tightness across my back that I don't often feel. Underneath this issue. Maybe this issue's been here was so long, and so I might have a lot of feelings about how long this issue, this pattern has been with me. And I've wanted to be able to completely transform it a long time ago. Above your lips. Are there any judgments that you're holding inside now about yourself related to whatever this disturbance is, whatever this pattern? I have to believe that most of you are working on patterns and issues. Maybe there's judgment that you're feeling against the world or toward negative judgment toward the world or toward others, toward spirit or God. That is related here too. Collarbones. These issues, I don't know, the presence that's still here. And the yearning to shift it. On the sides, the yearning to, I don't know, believe in myself more fully, to believe in others more fully, to open up and be accepting and trusting life more. There's a yearning for a better world, right? There's deep yearning in all of us for that, at all levels. Wrists. So this upset, this pain, emotional pain, frustration, this triggering, this imbalance. I don't like being imbalanced. I don't like being out of balance. I don't like perhaps, like noticing that there are things that I'm not good at. I want to be good at everything, right? Like, dang it, I don't want to still be dealing with some of these things. Top of your head. Oh, feeling the charge, all the different charge inside your nervous system, from your thoughts to the beating of your heart, to your pulse, nerve endings throughout the whole of your body, eyebrows. Any sadness and sorrow that's coming up around this. On the sides, maybe there's still some rage or fury, that intense that just comes out of the blue, fight and flight kind of, I can't believe I just did that again. I can't believe I just said that again. I can't believe I acted. Where did that anger come from? Right? That kind of anger. And feelings of maybe still being trapped, like still feeling maybe somehow trapped in these patterns, trapped in these feelings about ourselves or others, just wanting to be free of it underneath. And any fear, right? So there's always fear. Anything that's still out of balance, there's fear. It might feel like anxiety and panic, might feel like terror. It just occurs to me, working with someone this week who's using the word brutal, that life is just feeling brutal, right? That's kind of it's kind of fear, it feels like being attacked, being, just challenged, so challenged. Could feel like dread, it could feel like worry, it could feel like apprehension for the future. Above your lips, and any embarrassment, embarrassment and a feeling of maybe still some of that judgment about not being good enough, right? Because isn't that what embarrassment is? Like there's something, something not okay about what I just did, the way I just reacted, feeling insecure, maybe in some ways, in some situations, feeling self-conscious, not feeling like totally comfortable and at home in my own body, right? Like any ways that I'm not singing, I want to say singing the praises of, it feels so good to be me. It feels so good to be in my body. It feels so good to be alive. Like what's blocking that, right? What sense of yourself is blocking that below your lips? And what kind of shame might still be there? Even if you're not conscious of it, it's a good time to ask the subconscious parts of yourself, right? To just to help, like if there are parts of me that are still carrying shame, please help them release that shame. Collarbones. Whatever heartbreak is here about this, we're all of certain ages where a good part of our life is in the past now, right? And there are things that won't be. There are things that won't be again, right? And we can feel some heartbreak about that. Feel heartbreak about things that never happened, things we never experienced. We can feel discouraged maybe about some of this, disempowered, hopeless that it'll ever change. On the sides, and of course, feeling guilty about what we did do, guilty about what we didn't do, guilty about how we did what we did, guilty about what we should have done, what somebody else did and we didn't. I mean, we feel guilty often very easily, very, very easily. Risks, and then that anger, maybe the anger we have towards ourselves, the anger, of course, towards others, and the anger that we have towards life, towards the structure of life, towards spirit, and frustration, right? Talking about long patterns, we're talking about frustration. We might be talking about resentment that has to do with other people, resenting how other people have treated us, harboring, this anger and not having found ways to change it or to speak out. And that's kind of when resentment develops, is from a powerlessness of being able to change, thinking we can change it. Intolerance and aversion. Top of your head, and letting go. So letting go of all of the charge in my body, eyebrows, letting go of the sadness and the sorrow, that old energy of sadness and sorrow that I can release now. Letting go of, those old reaction patterns that are woven, embedded deeply into the patterning of the nervous system. Asking my nervous system, directing my nervous system right now to change. To change. I choose to show up from now on with more ability to intervene in my own reaction patterns, for example, underneath, and letting go of all those different aspects of fear and the way they've lodged themselves within us. And we've walked around in a state of fear, protected us, changed our life so we wouldn't feel fear. And fears, that's just been huge in the development of our personalities and our defense patterns, what we show up to in life and how we show up. So just asking, just compelling that fear to leave, even from our bones, even from our cells, even from all the fluids inside, from everywhere inside, above your lips, and letting go, of that judgment against self, and just stepping in. Like, why not step in to really full acceptance of ourselves? Perhaps now saying to yourself, I am beautiful inside and out. I am lovable. I am loving. I am wise. I am smart. I am more than good enough. I am okay. And I choose to love myself. Collarbones. Letting go of the disappointment, the discouragement, letting go of the heartbreak. It's okay. It's all okay. Life is so big and so vast, and it's more than any one of us can, I don't know what I want to say, it's more than any one of us can navigate all of. None of us can heal completely from life. None of us become perfect, right? It's like life is so much vast than our limited capacity to rise into the expansiveness of all of it. And so we acknowledge that, we forgive ourselves, like I'm one person, I only do so much, and that's okay. It's all right. I accept myself, and I choose to love myself. On the sides. letting go of that tendency to go to guilt. You know, it's kind of a collapse as I think of it right now. Makes us feel small, like we did something wrong, right? That's what guilt's about. And so we feel small. And we all know that guilt and remorse and regret are not the same things. And of course, the 12 steps, one of the main, one of the most important, one of the steps that I'm the most aware of is that we make amends, like we do an inventory, right? So it's not that we think everything I've done is wonderful, but instead of feeling guilty, we move to responsibility, to responsiveness. And that allows us to correct, to repair. You've heard me use that word, repair relationships. We let go of guilt and we have more capacity to repair relationships, which is what we want in our hearts, to have these beautiful, loving relationships. Rest and letting go of the anger, all of the anger, all of the aspects of it, the frustration, the resentment, the aversion. Really feeling, maybe even just in this moment, feeling your nervous system relax. Just let go, like I can drop my nervous system down to a quieter. It's almost like I can imagine the sine wave of my nervous system. And just imagine that the sine wave goes from, a higher sine wave to a lower. Say it drops in half, or maybe it drops by 3/4. And you feel that rise into activation as a gentler, quieter rise. Imagining yourself, feeling yourself being able to stay in your body, stay present to the moment without the reaction, and breathe and open up to the possibilities in the moment when we are not reacting in life, when we are not in habitual states of mind. We are open to possibility, letting the flow of possibility flow into and through and around us. Bringing your hands up to the high heart center. Taking some time now to take some deep breaths. These deep waterfall breaths, some of the last deep waterfall breaths we are going to take together for some time, maybe forever, this particular group. And think about all the times that we've been breathing together through this group. Feeling that. Warmth and peace of breathing together with each other. Honoring each of us, all of us together in this moment. All the women, people who've been in this group. The way we have conspired, we have breathed together, and that is a holy thing to do. And bring your attention, your awareness to how you're feeling now. And if it is a pattern or an issue you've been working on, what's the reverse? What's the opposite? What is it that you want to feel, you want to believe, you want to live from? How then shall I live? How now do I step into the new beginning of this new moon, right? Post this very powerful solstice, this new beginning as we each launch ourselves into a slightly different pattern without doing this group together. What is the most, I don't know, lovely and bright, powerful, strong, empowered? Sorry. That just-
My
dog's-
your dog.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, she's like, she wants to go inside. So just let yourself feel that. Hey, baby girl. Come here. And just feel how you feel inside yourself now. Feel how you feel in your field right now. And time travel yourself forward, move into living into your life, in your life, in the ways that you want to inhabit, that you want to evince, to express, to be. Two seconds. And now, so feeling that in your body, holding it in your body, remembering once again that these changes that we make, these reversals, these releases, actually and in truth do affect our DNA. And we do replicate from this point forward in a healthier and more balanced, more light-filled pattern template for our being, for our body, for our health at all levels. And so now to bring this circle to a close, I once again want to honor and thank all the directions and the elements: earth, air, fire, water, all the energies of movement and the energies of stability, the energies of life and death, and growth, renewal, transformation. All the sacred beings who have been with us, each other. The support and the light that we have been for each other, the love that we have shared and showered upon each other, the light that each of us have brought to this whole. And I thank Angela for her assistance and her heart and her light and all the lightness that she brought into my life. and still brings into my life. And all the light that each of you have brought into my life. You know, not all of you know, but I have often, when I've been asked why I do what I do, my answer for decades has been that I get to see the beauty of the human heart. That people come here and open their hearts in trust, and it's something that most people don't get to see. You know, we spend so much time hiding ourselves from others, and that's been one of the greatest blessings, I think, of my life and my career. And so I thank each of you for the light that you've brought and the love that you've brought into the group and into my life. So may we all move forward, surrounded and loved and upheld, always protected, always connected. And may we know this, and trust it, and live from it. Anybody want to add anything?
Well, I had invited everybody to bring a cup, and we could do just cheers, you know, a virtual cheers to the time that we spent together, and to Holly for leading so courageously and beautifully through all sorts of challenges in other aspects of life, and just being, you know, a stellar example of who I aim to be. So thank you for that, Holly.
Thank you.
Okay, click, click,
Thank you.
click, click.
Oh, I need to drink now, something now.
Yeah, right.
I'll drink to that.
You have to drink to that, or it doesn't count. All right.
I think the dogs are asking for some attention.
Yes, I think they are. Outside, but I don't have enough. She's stuck. She's actually sort of wrapped around a tree now, so
Good boy.
she's okay, but she's can't move too much. So, all right.
Any further thoughts or any questions that you have, just send us an email at team@HollyTimberlake, and I'm happy to do what I can to answer. And if I can't answer, we'll gather up Holly and get her input. But again, thank you everybody for participating. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to get to know each of you.
Thank you, Angela. You've done a really wonderful job. So thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
been wonderful to have you in the group. Thank you so much for all that you've added.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's brought a lot of joy to my heart as well. So
And all the times you were able to do the group when I couldn't, right? There were a number of times and you carried it. So I didn't thank you for that. So.
what a privilege. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So should we
All
let
right.
everyone go so we can head on to the marches if that's what they want to do?
Yeah, I think it's a little late for the march, but so
Till we meet again.
till we
That's
meet
right.
again. Yeah, right.
And we will.
We will.
Yep.
Okay. All right, everybody. Be well. Take care.
Be
Bye-bye.
well. Take care.
Thank you again.
Thank
Thank you.
Mm.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
There you go. Bye.